From the hollers and hills of West Virginia, it's Heavenly Hills Homestead with another episode, so stay tuned. Bye. Hey guys, let's go check on our butternut. Here's the game plan for all those who have been following and watching these videos all summer and are excited to see this beast go and get weighed and become possibly the new world record. Okay, we're going to be doing that very soon. I'll give you the details right now. Just gotta get this blanket off there for a second. Sleeping bag. This thing sleeps better than I do. Look at that. That sleeping bag. Look how thick that thing is. Yeah, it's a huge sleeping bag. We put that on her every night as well. Just cover her every day. All right, so let me get this off of her. Oh, she's looking great. Looking good. All right. Put this right here. It rained last night, so we want to get her dried a little bit. Everything there seemed dried off. We don't want to see this. Don't want that on there. No snails, no slugs. Okay, don't want nothing like that on there. See how they get on there. Pick them off. Get them away. Don't want that on there. They'll eat holes on your stuff. Don't want holes. No holes. Okay. Alright, she's appearing to be really good. Alright, so here's the details on my giant butternut. Next Saturday, I will cut her off. Actually, next Saturday she'll be 40 days old, correct? So I'm going to cut her off early Saturday morning. I'll get an unofficial weight here at the house. I'll give all thumbs up to all participants in this and tell them to make their way to the weighing station, wherever the weighing station ends up being. I checked at the local post office this morning. He does not have a state stamp certifications on his scale. Therefore, we cannot use his. But I will find. I will find one. Now, I'm kind of curious. Can we still use the post office one if there's not a state thing on there, because it is federal government property? So therefore, it would have to be accurate. Could we still weigh it at the post office? Yeah. Anyhow, doesn't matter. We'll find somewhere to weigh it. We'll figure that question out. We're going to find a place. We're going to take it. We're going to weigh it. I have asked Chris Rodabaugh and his father, and I'm going to ask my daddy to accompany us, okay, to wherever the scale may be, which is going to be here local. And we will go there. We will first we'll take pictures and videos of this, okay? There's another reason why it's important to video your stuff. I've documented this growth completely, as well as the rest of these things in here. So if anything ever broke a record, I've got it well documented, okay? Video and photo evidence all over the place. But anyhow, I will take it there. We'll take videos of us cutting it off and pictures of us cutting it off. We'll arrive at the station, wherever the weighing station will be, where we will continue to take video and photo. We'll have a GPC representative on a video call, and that will be our agricultural representative, okay? As well as I could possibly even get a doctor to join in. So I would end up having like 5 witnesses, okay, and certify this thing. All the witnesses will have to write letters, witnessing of all this. It's a big thing to do, okay? Gee, it's not an easy feat getting a Guinness World Record. You would think it'd be as simple as saying, well, that's the biggest one ever grown. Everybody knows it, and that'd be it, but it's not. We even have to set our phones, the format up differently, because Guinness is not set up to take the JPEG files that we have on our iPhones. So we have to set the settings on that. That's a big to do. But we have it, and we're going to be doing it next Saturday. So those of you who have been anticipating this weigh-in, you're excited. I'm excited. You know, if it pre-weighs here on my scale, at what, over 81.2. 81.2 is the number to beat. If it beats 81.2, all thumbs up will be given to all the participants in this great event, and we will move on along to the weigh station, weigh this joker in, get everything that we need to get done, properly filled out and everything, turn it into Guinness, and we will have a new world record based on the measurements, based on what I can weigh this at on the vine. Everything looks like it's a go. Okay, guys? Everything looks like it's a go. I have had no measurable growth in this 3 days now, I think. I didn't measure it today. Yesterday made 2 days, no measurable growth. So, what's it doing? Well, it could be thickening up the inside wall. We know that it's getting watered, okay? We know that it's growing. So now what we have to look for is the ribs getting more defined, which would mean it was growing, but, you know, not a lot. But the inside wall could be thickening up, okay? It could be this thick, it could be going to that thick, right? We don't know. So we're not going to lay off the fertilizer. We're going to hit the gas, fertilize every day. Every day we're going to spray fertilizer on this plant, okay? We're not going to lay off until we cut her off next Saturday morning. We're going to pump it, pump it, pump it, pump it, pump it. All right? So, without further ado, let's get to that, and then we're going to fix my tiller and put the new belt on. All right, guys? So let's get to it. Guys, go ahead and explain what I did there. So plants, no matter how bad they are, okay, no matter the situation, they try to fix themselves, okay? So when you have dead leaves that have completely dried up and they're not being productive anymore, the plant will continue sending water and nutrients to it, trying to fix that leaf. There's no way it can fix it, none at all. But it says it can fix it up until a certain point, and then it'll finally, the whole stalk of the leaf will die, the stem of the leaf will die, okay? But the whole time, up and until that point, it's sending stuff up there to it. It's not sending it to the fruit that's on the vine. It's not sending it out to the other leaves and the other stems that are on the vine. It's sending it to those that are hurting, right? So what you end up getting is you get less production out of your plant because your plant's trying to heal itself. Now, you can leave them on there for a little bit, all right? And you've seen the pumpkin patch this year, it finally got to a point where even as many as I cut off, there was more needing to be cut off. But you've seen that once I cut them off, what did they do? Well, they come back to life, filled in that gap and made new plants, right? So there's a point at which you got to say, okay, these got to come off of here, okay? And I have probably been guilty this year on the pumpkins and this butternut of letting them go too long. When I came home the other day and those leaves were half gone, I probably should have cut them that day, but I didn't because I was trying to still use them to draw in nutrients from the fertilizers, okay? So there's a balance there. I'm not sure what that balance is. I would say that I probably leave the leaves too long. Wait 1 second. Okay, sorry about that. Anyways, I would say I probably leave the leaves on way too long. Probably the leaves, as soon as they start turning brown and the ends start curling back, I should probably cut them then. But we'll try that experiment out next year on some of the plants, okay? This year, I'm just gonna stick to what I've been doing. No harm, no foul so far, right? That I can tell. Anyhow, I cut those off. Now, instead of them trying to heal those leaves and trying to keep them alive, that will send the nutrients and the water out to other leaves and to my fruit. So you see, however, all the leaves that I just cut off right there that the chickens are digging in, those are leaves that are no more on the vine. No, they're not going to be drawing any more nutrients. They're not going to be drawing any more water. Where's it going to go? The plant's still going to draw in water. It's still going to draw in nutrients, the same amount that it was. So where's it going to go? Well, it's going to shove it and force it to shove it into my fruit and into my leaves that are left on there that are healthy, okay? Or into my new ends that are trying to still grow, okay? I can further shut down the production by cutting those leaves off, or cutting those ends off, and cutting the other leaves that are still left on there that are still green, but the ends are turning brown, and so they're not completely toast yet. I could further that by cutting that off. But at what point do you get that you've cut so many leaves off that you're no longer shoving stuff into the plant, you're no longer getting the sun? We're already down to 11 hours of daylight, okay? That's horrible conditions to grow anything in, okay? Especially being that the sun is nowhere nearly as strong as it was, okay? Now, 11 hours might be sufficient if the sun was still at its strong, June, July, effectiveness, right? Then yeah, sure, 11 hours would be plenty enough, okay? But now in the fall, where you're getting 11 hours of daylight, and your sun is not nearly as powerful, it's not nearly as warm, the ground's cooling off, everything's fighting against you, everything's trying to kill your plant and destroy your fruit. What can you do? Okay, couple of things. One, you could put heaters out here on these plants, and yes, you would be heating the outdoors, but your leaves would be good, and the ground could still be somewhat warm and manageable. Okay, the other thing you could do is or let me go back. If you do put a heater out, maybe put a fan on low and blow the heat through your leaves, keeping them warm. Okay. Anyways, back to what I was going to say next. The next thing you do is you could put some heat cables in the ground before you plant, your season. Use the heat cables early on in the year, and then whenever you gotten late into the season like this is, you still have those heat cables in the ground, so you can plug them back in and restore your heat back up in your ground temperature back up to 70 degrees. Okay, so there's a benefit to planting and having soil cables in the ground at the beginning of the season, because if you got them in there then, you'll have them in there now when you need them, okay, if you're still trying to compete and grow a record. This is a rarity, an oddity in the growing community, that you'll ever have anything, especially here in the northern part of, of the country. When you get into Virginia, West Virginia, and keep going up, your climates continue to change, and your winters come earlier, your falls come earlier. So this is a rarity, an oddity in the growing, that I'm still growing a butternut at this time, at this stage of the game and this time of the season. This plant should have died back in September, and there should be no growing, right? No growth at all. It should be dead and done for, right? But it's still got one on the hook, and it's still growing, and the plant's still growing, and it's just now trying to die back. Here it is, almost the end of October, going to go into November. If I didn't decide on my own to take this butternut off next Saturday, I believe I could grow this on into November. And how far could I grow it into? I have no idea. We're going to see, because I'm not going to destroy the plant. I'm going to see how much longer the plant will last. And I'll end up letting one of the baby butternuts next week. I'll let one of those baby butternuts, I'll let them come to maturity and pollinate it, and we'll just see how long it'll grow, okay? Just to see how long I could have went with this butternut. Because whatever date that I end up getting, let's say it frosts. It's not going to frost and hit my plant or hit my butternut because it's covered, right? So frost would definitely kill it in November. And if that happened, you'd probably get about 3 days of growth left out of it, or 3 days of water and nutrients still being shoved into that butternut. So while you might not see actual growth of the butternut, the inside would be still bulking up and stuff. This butternut's nowhere near done growing, guys. If I would have had this butternut at this size, say back in September, when my other one broke off the vine at 59 pounds, if I would have had this one, I would have been right now probably getting closer to the maturity date on this one, and would probably be able to get it, to where it's changing colors, right? Because a butternut's tan, okay, not green. And then I would get a mature butternut to scale, okay? Well, I don't think it's going to happen, so it's just, to me, with this growth and everything, I'm gonna have to go back and look at my videos. I'm not sure the growth date of this plant, but I'm very impressed with it, because it has been a wonderful plant. It has grown great. I'm highly tempted to clone this plant and keep it cloned all the way till next spring and plant it again. That's how much I like this plant. What my hope and my prayer is that I grow the world record this year. I've already beat the world record once. Okay, let's beat it again, right? That was my goal. Okay. With that being said, this I'm hoping will beat the world record, okay, which is 81.2 pounds right now as it stands. That's the official, unofficial record. My hope is that I beat that, turn it in, get my Guinness plaque, whatever, and next year I don't grow the butternut. Next year I focus my growing abilities on something else. The marrow, which was just set this year, I thought it was going to be left open again this year. Both the bushel gourd and the marrow were both got records set by the butternuts and stuff. So what I'm hoping is next year I grow the marrow, next year I grow the bushel gourd, and beat those records, okay, that are set, because I want my name in there, okay, as many times as I can get it in there. So anyhow, that's the skinny on this and why I did what I did today. So we're gonna go over here, we're gonna get the tiller hooked up and see what we got left. May try to run it through a couple times, maybe not, but we'll see. Okay, so far there's been 3 bolts that we had to remove this cover. Or excuse me, 4 bolts. One there, one there, one there, and one right here on the bottom, okay? And I'll show you where those are at when we put it back together. Right now, we're taking this off so we can get the belt onto this front pulley up here on the motor. A little stuck. So we're trying to give it a little bit of persuasion there. And it don't seem like it's gonna come off of there very easily. I may have to go get a bigger drive set. Let me go get a bigger drive set and we'll complete this task of removing that belt holder, whatever you want to call it, okay? And then put the belt on that pulley and should be good to go. I don't know, can we do it? I hate doing that. I hate rolling a belt through. No, let's not do that. Let's just do what I go get a bigger set. Okay, got a bigger set and a breaker bar. In case y'all have never seen this, sit back and enjoy. This will be the first time for you. Let's see what we got on here. Oh, way too big. Why is that there? Over there, Joker. Man, alive, that was tight. Whew, lifting the thing up. Them should never be that tight. Never, ever, 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 ever. That's ridiculous. That being an aluminum block and all, that could have really hurt some stuff in there. You should never tighten bolts like that. Especially since these bolts are probably grade 8 bolts. I mean, they could have really messed that aluminum block up. I don't know what the torque specs on it, but I guarantee you it ain't that. So tight that the back of the tiller lifted up. Man, wow, how long are these bolts too? I'm gonna put a little grease on these before I put them back in there. Not a lot, just a dab, okay? Just a dab. They're not super long, so they seem like it. Okay. Now, stretch this belt on here. It's gonna be funny. Okay, let's see. Need a bigger one. 16 should work. Roll it on. There we go. There's the belt. So we got the belt on. Everybody see how that goes? All right. I hope so. Let me move you around here just a bit. We'll zoom in just a touch so y'all can get the full view. I don't want nobody not seeing what we're doing here. Get it, hang on, I'll poop. Sometimes I tell you. Sometimes, I don't think y'all that watch these videos understand the grief and the crap that those shooting the videos have to go through every day to give y'all videos. I really don't. Y'all might think it's just shooting a video, but it's not. It's hard. It's hard as all get out. All right. Still trying to fix this. There we go. Well, now I done move the camera. Set you back in there. Close you back down. All right. Sorry about all that. Okay, so now this right here, these two holes, one there, that's where this goes back at. And what it does is it's a guide, and it helps guide that in there. Let me go get, man, that did. See, I told y'all, what I tell y'all? I told y'all that would do damage to my block. I want y'all to look. I told y'all that was damaging. Look at that. That's threads. That was on the bottom of this bolt just now. That right there is aluminum threading that got pulled out when I took that bolt out of there. I told y'all, I don't know what they do at the manufacturer's place. I would assume that's the first belt this has ever had on it. I mean, it could be the second one. I did get it used, but I didn't think it had been used to where it had to have a new belt on it already. I believe I'm the first one to put it on there, so I think it comes from the factory that tight. Never, ever, ever in any situation, but definitely in aluminum, never over tighten aluminum stuff, okay? Because you're just asking for a disaster when you over tighten aluminum or into aluminum. See, this is a grade 8 bolt, tightened up into that aluminum like that and caused them threads to get stripped out. Now I have a full one thread full gone out of the bottom of that, and then it didn't need to be. So anyhow, let me go get some grease and I'll show you how to put this back together. All right, guys, got our grease, got our guide on there. Put just a dab on it, don't want a lot. That is all the grease you want, just a touch, okay? You use your finger and smear it around there a little bit on the threads, okay? And a little bit on this one right here. And y'all go to car lots and stuff, you gotta watch there too, because they, a lot of times, like, or even at Walmart, and you go get your tires changed and stuff, be very careful and tell them not to use the air impact. Make them do it by hand, because they'll wring them right out, man. If you ain't careful and watching, they will certainly wring them right out. And then there you'll be with a stripped lug nut or a stud, and they'll act like that wasn't their fault. This is gonna be a joy, isn't it? Started in here like this first. I've never seen one made like this. Where the actual studs are in the way of the belt. That's crazy. Okay, got one going. I don't know who designed this, but it's a pitiful design. Putting the belt right in the way of the bolts trying to go in for guide. That's not a very good design at all. Yep. just a little snug. Okay, that's all you do. Don't over tight like them goofballs did. No need for all that. Okay, so now we're gonna put the cover back on. All right, we got, hopefully y'all seen that. What we did, we put it on back here first. We put it on here. We slid it up underneath this guide onto the puller, the tension pulley arm, which locks it into gear. And then in order to get it onto this pulley on the motor, we had to remove the guide, okay, which is 2 bolts, pull the guide off, slip the belt on, and you have to use a wrench with a 9/16 socket to get it on there about halfway, and then you use that wrench and 9/16 socket and turn it, and it'll pull that belt on the rest of the way. Then you're good to set your guides back on, and now we're ready to put our cover back on. Again, it's 4 bolts. Sit it in here like so. There's a stud. It's 3 bolts and 1 stud. Before I start this, let me show you something. Y'all see down in there? Look right there where the tip of my finger was. Sorry. Right there. See the tip of my finger? See all them deer down in there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 of them that I see. Now, before that feller moved in there and bought that farm that he no longer farms, just bought it because of the house. Actually, he tried to farm. When he first moved there, he tried with the goats and he tried with the sheep, and he failed utterly. Sold everything and then just lives in the house. So anyhow, he watches the deer for his enjoyment and his pleasure. And that's fine. But when you feed them so much that they no longer stay in the woods, I have a problem with that. I have a big problem with that. Because they should be over here in the woods right now. And instead of them jokers being over here in the woods where I need them to be so I can kill them, they're down there in that field having a good old time. Because he puts out every other thing that man could think of to feed them rascals with. I have a big problem with that. So, word to everybody. If you're going to be a good neighbor, you got a lot of land, and you're feeding deer, do everybody around you a favor. Don't feed them so much that that's all they do is stay at your place, okay? Make them move around a little bit, because there's people out here trying to hunt them. And what you're going to cause is a lot of problems for yourself if you're doing it, because people will find a way to get them deer, okay? So, I'm not one of them, let's just clear that up. I'll go somewhere else and hunt. But that right there, that's not cool. That's aggravating is what that is. And everybody else sees it and gets aggravated too. So let's see about this tiller. All right, guys, let's fire this up, check it, see if it runs. If it runs, we'll till tomorrow. It rained last night, no sense in trying to till up today. Okay, so we got the belt on the right way. I'm adjusted all the way out, can't go no more here. You put it in the gear and it takes off without ever having to pull that. So this belt is at least 1 inch, maybe 2 inches too small. So we gotta have a belt that's longer, 1 or 2 inches longer. The guy gave her the wrong belt, so we have to go get a new one. So we'll get a new belt. Maybe tomorrow. I hate having to run to town. Just waste time having to go all the way out to Beckley every day. Got some deer up here in this field now. There was 5 of them up there just a second ago. I see 2 of the 5. I think the rest of them are, there's 2 of the 5. I think the other 3 are behind them trees right there. And then of course there was 3 or 4 down in there still just a second ago. Right before I took my tools inside, they've mosey on. But see, they do that. And I'm not fussing. I just, you know, when you know people hunt around you and you don't hunt, and the only thing the deer are for are enjoyment for you, don't be baiting your deer. Don't be baiting the deer over into your land. You know what I mean? Let them, you know, let them do what they're going to do during the hunting season. So those of us that hunt can hunt and, you know, fill our tags. And there goes one running across the field right there. There's 2 and 3. All of them got their tails up. Anyways, let those of us who have tags fill our tags. And then, you know, during the winter time, there goes another one running, 2, 3 more. There's 3 more running across the field. Anyways, 4, 5. That's 8 deer in total just ran across there. Anyways, like I was saying, let us that do hunt fill our tags and stuff, and fill our freezer up. You know, instead of you feeding the deer and keeping them out of our hunting areas where we like to hunt. Also, you can enjoy watching them. Plenty of deer over here. Plenty, but when, you know, we're not going to kill them all, so, you know, don't do that during the hunting months. You know, September through December, don't feed the deer. Pick back up in January and feed them all the way through hunting season if you want to. I mean, it's up to you. We can feed them too, but, you know, it just is what it is. You make it a little bit more complicated than it already is. Yeah, so anyhow, there's a big one right there. I'll see it there in the corner. But anyhow, enough of that. This, we'll get the new belt, put it on there, fix it. Just needs to be longer, and then we'll finish tilling up our ground. So, appreciations watching. We'll see you tomorrow right here in the Hollers and Hills of West Virginia.
Don't forget to smash that like button. Hit that notification bell. Don't forget to share.
Thank you, good sir.
You're welcome. And subscribe.